My name is Matt Hooper, and I'm the design director at id Software, working on Rage. And it's been a long time. We've been working on this for years. It is kind of exciting to talk about it. The biggest thing is, to me, just the visual fidelity. We're able for the first time to uniquely texture the entire world, and that kind of led to this diversity that at first it wasn't really clear, what do we do with this tech, right? So we have that visual side of things. But then what we've done is we set the goal of running at 60 frames a second, and we want to be a 60 hertz shooter. We want that fundamental responsiveness. So that's the other thing. We wanted a game that looked really compelling, had a lot of diverse elements, and then we wanted it to be top-notch as far as performance. We wanted to be extremely responsive and stay true to that. So we want to be pegged at 60 frames a second. It's always a challenge anytime you do anything new technology-wise, or even new on the gameplay side. So there's always those sorts of challenges. There's probably a little something extra to try to make sure it hits at 60 hertz. There's sacrificing here or there. But we've had a nice marriage of technology and gameplay this time. They've really worked together over the past half decade to pull this off.
Do you think that it will kind of license out the software to other studios, or is it specifically for in-house use?
We kind of made a conscious decision that let's keep our edge. Let's keep this in-house. There's other technologies and there's a lot of great games out right now, but there's something unique about what you can do with id Tech 5. So we're going to keep that just to the smaller kind of ZeniMax family of developers.
Is anybody using it at the moment?
We haven't announced anything just yet, but the thing we've always been careful is we want to make sure the technology is right for the game, because it's really about delivering the whole package. You want to make a game that everybody wants to play. If our technology is right for that, and it's part of our family, then we'll make that happen. When we first started with Rage, our goal was first and foremost make a really killer single-player experience. And it's a deep, rich story, a lot of new elements, new technology. It's a big game. There's a lot there. There's a lot of entertainment for your dollar in Rage single player. Then with the multiplayer, what we didn't want to do is just have the checklist. Let's do this, 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 because everybody else is doing it. But as we were developing, we're always looking for opportunities, right, and iterating through things. We kind of follow the, wouldn't it be cool if, we had vehicles with cool armor, cool weapons. Wouldn't it be cool if I could battle it out with my friends online? Other games don't do that. This could be really unique and interesting. This could be a bonus for Rage and the people that buy Rage. We put it in, we tried it. At first we had something similar to Deathmatch with vehicles, and then we added these rally points. So we have this combat rally mode. It's a little more forward focusing. You're battling it out. There's cool scoring and multipliers. We just kept iterating till we find something we liked. When we liked it, we put it in the game. And co-op, that's easy. People like playing with their buddy, doing the same things they might do in the single-player campaign. So we have the co-op. We have split-screen co-op. You can play with your buddy right on your couch, or you can play with someone down the street or in another, location online. And then we tied it back to the fiction. We made sure it was still uniquely Rage. So we have the co-op, and then we have the combat rally, and we're still looking for little ways to kind of push on the vehicle ideas, and even looking for some new co-op missions that may make sense. But we think both of those things add something to Rage, and that's what we wanted.
Considering that it are probably the daddies of multiplayer shooters, did you not think that it was a perfect fit, considering that you pretty much kind of started the genre in a way?
Well, with Rage, we were trying to do something fundamentally different. It's our first new IP in so many years. We didn't feel the need to, we have to, lead this classic deathmatch charge. We have other titles. We have an entire studio. We have an entire department that's just dedicated to doing this. And those make sense with Doom and maybe with Quake. You can expect to have that. But with Rage, it's really a lot about the single-player experience and what we're trying to do and all the different elements. When you add vehicles and quick-use items and engineering items and the kind of depth and diversity to the story, there's a lot there. So that's what Rage has always been about. And we didn't want that laundry list. But we know people they'll be curious why we went this direction, and that's okay.
Is it tough to sell a game like a first-person shooter these days without team deathmatch and deathmatch?
Well, kind of our idea is always please ourselves first, right? So we're always trying to make the best game, the game we would want to play. And we think if we do that, there'll be an audience for it. And It actually simplifies it. There's definitely some pressure, and we know there's so much competition and so many good games that you do have to, you have to reinvent yourself and do something a little different and pull from little places and keep it fresh and new. But at the same time, usually if you please yourself, we play a lot of games, we love a lot of games. If we're happy with it, we wrap it all up, we deliver it, we think there'll be an audience and they'll enjoy it.
You said yourself with Rage as a single player focus primarily. Was it hard to kind of, create this kind of replayability in a way to keep people rather than just renting it and then sending it back? Is it quite difficult to kind of maintain that people will keep coming back to?
Yeah, as a designer, that's not my primary focus, but I mean, it is an industry. There are marketing guys and business guys always pushing and, okay, what are we going to do here and what are we going to do there? But there have been other really successful games that have only been single player. You just have to have a lot there, We want to keep people interested. You can't just play Rage for 2 hours and drop it. So we literally have something fresh and new around every corner, whether it be someone new to fight, some new enemy. We give you a new cool toy to use, like a little remote control bomb car or sentry bot, new ammo type, new weapons, new colorful characters to meet. We want to keep the player interested for hours, and that'll keep the game in their hands. And then with this online component, I think it's really going to be something everybody wants to try because there are no parallels. You've never done this before. And when you try it, I think people will like it. And there'll be a little community around that. And the co-op adds a lot too. So, and then from there, you build on it with what do people like about Rage, and then you offer them DLC. So we think we have a strong offering.
With it being obviously a lengthier campaign than your normal shooter these days, how do you keep the gameplay fresh, like from a shooter perspective?
Just a lot of man hours.
Yeah.
We just worked a long time on the game. It's not easy though. It takes a lot of artists, a lot of animators, a lot of designers, and that is a key point though. I'd rather remove a couple hours from the game that are redundant or kind of not fresh than force them in there just to say we're this many hours long. So we still don't know what our final hours will be. We do have some replayable areas like the Bash TV, for instance, or some of the racing circuits, or we have these missions where bandits maybe repopulate their environment and you have to go in and do a slightly different mission. But we still do have that kind of focused action shooter at the same time where you're living through this action movie and you always know, you're kind of directed from point to point. That's the games we like to play and that's what's there. But again, as a player, you're given a lot of opportunities. But it's been difficult to kind of make sure it's fresh all the way through. Yeah, we think we have a nice set of environments that look visually different, and there's usually somebody different to fight there. Some of the later areas you're traversing through are just fundamentally different. It almost switches from this, even the two towns, the dusty kind of western outpost of Wellspring and the underneath subway town built in the subway tunnels, they're different. People talk different there, they look different, the areas look different. One's addicted to electricity and the other's just all worried about the water that they get from down below. And then there's some other things we haven't really shown later on in the game that almost border on fantasy elements. And then finally these sci-fi elements. There's a lot there.
Are you frustrated by the comparisons to Borderlands?
It's not really frustrating because I think gamers and press and everyone, they want to know what is Rage. Well, it's not Doom, it's not Quake, it's not really Borderlands, it's not Fallout. But how can you tell what something is unless you can draw a parallel, right? But we're doing so many things that literally haven't been done. The way we handle vehicles is so different than what these other games have done. And there's really no parallel. So even when I'm asked, it's been hard. You really just have to play it and start to experience it. It's frustrating that we can't, as developers, say, it's this. But it's almost, I think people should be excited by that because it will be fundamentally different. There's going to be some things that you would expect from an id game, like having a badass shotgun and a cool enemy coming forward. We'll have that. But we'll have these other things that you haven't seen before. So I don't know if it's not frustrated against people's expectations or them trying to draw the parallels. I get it. I know why they want to do it. But it really is fundamentally different. In the US, we're releasing on September 13th, and then a few days later on the 16th in the UK.